Archie, should I consider giving while living?
Well, Jimmy, there's some really great benefits, but some drawbacks too. Let's talk about it. Weekly wisdom to help you retire and stay that way. This is Last Paycheck. Welcome back to Last Paycheck, brought to you by Hoxton Planning and Management. We're your hosts, Archie Hoxton and Jimmy Sutch. And today, we're talking about something I've seen talked about a lot recently, actually, whether it's in meetings with clients or I've seen it on LinkedIn and the Wall Street Journal. It's about giving while living, or also sometimes called giving with a warm hand, as opposed to kind of leaving everything to the end of your life to be inherited by whether it's your kids or charities or nieces and nephews and that sort of thing.
Yeah, these people kind of get to the point in life where they have a healthy financial plan.
Mm-hmm.
They understand that they're able to fund their retirement and take care of any kind of unexpected events, and they're just really, really healthy financially.
Yeah.
What's the next step? Well, some of that next step is the enjoyment of giving some of that money away to your loved ones.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting till you go upstairs or wherever you go.
Yeah.
And you don't really get to see it.
Right. And not everybody kind of arrives at that point too. We should probably say, some people are, their kids are set and they want to actually enjoy their money they've accumulated and, sort of try to spend their last dollar on their last day kind of thing, which is actually kind of difficult to do. But that's, this might not be as applicable to folks like that, but there are plenty of people who feel that way.
There is this delicate balance between making sure you and your spouse or whomever are well taken care of, and also making sure your kids don't live with you in your basement for the next 30 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because it's not always just enjoying the money too. It's also preparing for the unexpected.
Sure.
And sometimes in old age, the unexpected is super expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to make sure that and you don't want to have your kids, like I said, relying on you. So, but we'll talk about I think the first thing that comes to mind is when people want to give something to their kids or to charity for that sort of sense of purpose and that emotional, good that comes from
it's
helping
fulfilling.
someone.
Yeah, it's very fulfilling, I'm sure.
Right now, a lot of people are feeling like their kids are having a hard time getting into their first house.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe having a hard time handling debt with student loans and that sort of thing. Or maybe can't, it's a little tight. You want to go and have a big vacation all as a family, but your kid's just getting started. And so you want to, kind of help them with their part of that vacation.
I'll tell you, and I know you'll agree with me when I say this, but where we see it the most and what tugs on the heartstrings the most is when we work with somebody who is of retirement age, and that's about the age in which they start kind of having grandchildren.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you what, grandchildren are the key to this entire conversation.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
It seems.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes that giving comes in the form of filling up your kid's basement with toys for your grandkids.
Right. So, but you have these discussions of, how much can I afford to fund maybe my grandchild's 529? Or in the future, I want to make sure I pay for my grandson's college education or wedding or
down
something
payment.
like that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you see this a lot with that next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if your kids have kind of gotten their footing, and now it's okay, how can we have money that we want to give, we want to create an impact in our family. Well, the next obvious step is going to the next generation.
And it kind of seems that just kind of aligns with the age in which somebody becomes a little bit more financially comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They've accumulated some assets over their lifetime. They're at the tail end of their career.
Yeah.
And if they were good savers, they feel a little bit more comfortable rather than worrying about paying for just that mortgage payment.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah. And another thing that this does is, if it allows you to, one, see some impact. I mean, if it's you get to see, your kids sort of become their own little family, get married, have children, and you get to help with putting them in the house, or you get to see, your grandkid eventually go on and find success of their own, partly, at least in part, due to the investment that you made in them. Gosh, that can be a really great way. And you would never see that. They may still have gotten the benefit if you had just left this as an inheritance, but you would never see it. And so, I think that can be really meaningful for people.
Like as advisors and planners, right? We encourage everyone to get a will done.
Yeah.
Or at least maybe see an estate planning attorney just to make sure your affairs are aligned if something were to happen.
Right.
But one thing this does, and it takes a lot of doubt or question out of it, is you actually get to facilitate the distribution of your assets rather than waiting or being dependent on a piece of paper.
Right.
Right. So it does oftentimes kind of prevent some conflict in the future if there's going to be some.
Yeah, a lot of times a family that would otherwise be very connected and so kind of conflict free, and when someone dies, sometimes that unity was kind of formed around this person, and then the assets start to move however they were supposed to, or deemed by the court they were going to move. And that can create some division and conflict for sure. You want to avoid that as much as you can. There are some financial benefits to giving while you're alive. The big one I would say that comes right to mind is the annual gift exclusion. This applies more if you are really well off financially and you're anticipating you may have some estate tax to pay one day at the federal level, where you can. This essentially allows you to give up to a certain amount of money every year without affecting your lifetime allowance for giving and for transfers. And so it's totally tax free. You don't even have to file a gift tax return for that.
It's nice too. So even if you're not one of these people with a $14 million estate or $30 million estate, another convenient benefit to it is it actually just allows those assets to skip probate.
Yeah.
Right. So stays out of the courts. Right.
Right.
Very easily passed on and distributed prior to your death. So there's some miscellaneous benefits in just gifting while you're alive. Right.
Yeah.
Even for the sake of simplicity.
Right. Because a lot of estate planning is about control and controlling things after you're gone. But you never have more control than you do while you're alive and you have your mental faculties. So that's another great reason to consider that. Another financial benefit is giving appreciated assets like stock. You give an appreciated asset to one of your children, for example. Maybe they're in a different capital gains tax bracket than you are. And they can sell that and not pay any tax on it, or pay less than you would. You can also give appreciated stock to a charity. If it's more of a charitable motivation than an heir, or maybe you don't have children. Yeah. The charity doesn't pay tax if they sell it at a gain. So you're avoiding the gain. You're getting the opportunity to give and enjoy that the gift of giving without the tax.
Yeah, it's nice because if you have a brokerage account and you are a charitable person and your NVIDIA stock is up $50,000 or $10,000, whatever it may be, you can move that stock over to the charity. The charity liquidates that position and then can use the proceeds, right?
Yeah.
To kind of fund whatever campaign they're doing or whatever good cause that you believe in. So that's very fulfilling, and you keep more of the money in the 501c3's pocket rather than Uncle Sam's pocket.
Right.
So that's very, very beneficial. To kind of circle back to like the grandbabies and things like that, another financial move that we see sometimes is if, they pay directly to the tuition of that college, right? There's tax-free gifts involved, right? So that makes giving very, very efficient, and even medical bills, right?
Yeah.
So there's ways to give directly to these institutions or providers in a tax-free way.
Yeah. Another one, as far as this kind of goes back to charities again, is the qualified charitable distribution from an IRA. We see this a lot because when the tax law changed in 2017 and it was now just made permanent this year, the standard deduction went way up. A lot of itemized deductions were disallowed and kind of just made irrelevant. So most people are taking the standard deduction. And so that in that case,
$30,000 for a married couple, roughly.
And so it actually opened the door to qualified charitable distributions, which we've done episodes on before. If you're interested, check it out. Just to be really quick, it's a gift to a charity that goes directly from your IRA to the charity, and it's not taxable. You have to be 70 and a half, and most people start when they actually have required minimum distributions, which would be at 73 or 75, depending on the year you were born. But that allows you to take money out of your IRA, which would normally be taxed at your ordinary income rate, and completely tax-free. So that can be a great way also to reap some financial benefit. You can't do that for your kids if it doesn't apply to inheritance.
Right. Another thing we see quite often are what we call donor advised funds.
Yeah.
So this is essentially like giving to an account or a fund that is a 501c3 in itself.
Yeah.
Right. It's a charity that is essentially designed to give to other charities.
Yeah.
And we see folks kind of contribute to those, and you pick the amount, but they'll get that deduction in that particular year.
Right.
So rather than kind of writing checks to a charity over the span of 10 years and getting more modest deductions over that time frame, you're almost upfronting the deduction all in 1 year.
Yeah. And for a lot of people, with this whole, we were just talking about standard deduction.
Right.
A lot of people, if you were to, just from the donations that you make on an annual basis, for a lot of folks, you can't really end up getting to that itemized level where you're taking a more deduction than the standard. But if you take that year's worth of deductions, worth of donations, and give it all in 1 year, then you might get a huge deduction that you would never otherwise get.
Exactly.
But the charity still gets the money in a sort of piecemeal, like overtime kind of
way. And it's nice. You can kind of still, even though you get that deduction all in that particular year, you can still tend to have some control over the distributions of the funds.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of people like to have their charities sort of counting on them for an income stream.
Right.
I know this charity knows every year they're going to get $1,000 from me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that can help. You can still do it that way, which is good, rather than, 10,000 all at once.
Yeah, so there's definitely some emotional benefits and it's fulfilling, and then there's financial benefits, but we definitely don't tell everybody to do this.
Yeah, it doesn't always make sense, for sure.
It's not as common as we're making it seem.
Yeah.
Because there are some drawbacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because people have worked their entire lives to accumulate, this nest egg,
right?
And then just start to distributing that. It's tough, especially when life throws you curveballs, unexpected curveballs, that you need to be prepared for.
Yeah, and most people, unless you're someone who worked for a company or the government and has a pension that can provide you with most of your needs when combined with Social Security, most people actually will need to regularly take money from their nest egg to support themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're donating that away, you don't know if you're sort of creating a future problem, either through donating to, whether it's to charity or to your children or grandchildren or whoever, while maybe you're helping them like pay for college or get into a house, if you ended up having a big, expensive life event, like if you needed long-term care and you ran out of money, that could create a big problem down the road, and you don't want to do that. One of the great gifts that you can give to your heirs is the gift of not ever becoming a financial or physical kind of burden.
Right.
So that's a really great thing to give to somebody.
Yeah, and when we're planning, you kind of try to address these things or make sure they're addressed, long-term care events,
Yeah.
death of a spouse. Oftentimes, at the very least, you're losing some income there based on their Social Security income. So there's just a lot of things, sometimes there's divorces that certainly weren't expected. So, all of those things change your financial resource and your financial picture quite a bit. And you just kind of want to make sure you're prepared for it. So it's hard sometimes to encourage people to give while they're alive.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just hard to do it if you have genuine, which totally reasonable concerns about providing for yourself when you can't actually work for income anymore. So it's something to be done after wise, consideration and some planning. We always recommend work with a financial planner for these kinds of things and have a really good sense of how secure you are, how your needs will be met, and how unexpected events will be handled. And then start to think about, all right, how do I repurpose some of this money to create a legacy while I'm alive, and to give something back to your family or to charity. So, well, we could probably talk for a while longer about this. It's a big topic, but that's about all the time we've got. So if you like it, remember to subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment with any thoughts or questions that you have or ideas for episodes. Like the video, share it with your family and friends, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. You've been watching Last Paycheck, weekly wisdom to help you retire and stay that way. If you like this show, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Last Paycheck is available anywhere you get your podcasts.